Welcome to installment number 314 of the Mitzvahs as enumerated by Maimonides, the Rambam. Today we are in a brand new book of Shoftim, the book of Judges, and we are talking about the different court cases and the different rulings that would take place. Today we are talking about capital punishment. Our first two mitzvahs are about the judges and how they must comport themselves, and the other two are actually about two types of death penalty, capital punishment that are listed in the Torah. So first of all, we have negative commandment 282, that in a capital case, the verdict cannot be decided on the majority of only one. As we spoke yesterday, that the majority verdict is you need the majority rule in order to decide on a verdict. But when it comes to a capital case, death penalty, one is not enough. There needs to be a minimum of two people that believe in the death penalty. Simple majority is not enough. And as we see, there's a clear desire here for the high court to really avoid at all costs the death penalty. And a high court that some say a high court that would dole out the death penalty once in 7 years was considered a murderous high court. Others say that one who doled it out once in 70 years is considered a murderous high court. Whatever the case is, we really try as much as possible to avoid it, as we will see. The second negative commandment of today, 283, is that one judge cannot decide a ruling of guilty for the death penalty based on the findings of another judge, just because he respects the other judge, just because he thinks he's smart and whatever it is. He needs to fully believe it and fully be on the same page as the other judge. In addition, a judge who ruled not guilty cannot change his mind to guilty. The first judge who speaks on the panel should be one who believes that the person is not guilty. Thirdly, a court cannot change their minds. If they already gave a verdict of not guilty, they cannot go back and make it guilty. And finally, all the judges sit in a row based on more knowledgeable to less knowledgeable, more important judge to less important judge. It should be the least important judge to start speaking so as not to intimidate the rest of the crowd, because if the more knowledgeable start with their opinion, then the others are likely to follow suit. Finally, we have the two mitzvahs, the two types of death penalty that there are. There are four types. Today we're going to be discussing two, and tomorrow we're going to be discussing two. We have the positive commandment 229 as well as positive commandment 228, which discuss the death penalty of stoning and burning. What I do want to say is that neither one of these are actually stoning or burning. When it came to stoning, a person was brought to the top of a very tall building that was called the stoning building. They would be pushed off of this building. This would be enough to kill the person. In the event that the person did not die, then a very heavy stone would be thrown on them, and thus it was called the stoning building. The burning, I do not think that I can go into the exact detail of what they did, but let's just say that the person was not actually burned, and they were killed instantly. In both of these situations, they needed to be done only with the ruling of a high court, could not be done without the high court, without the Sanhedrin. And we say, if these people really did deserve this punishment, this judgment, then God would find his ways for them to receive it. They would fall down a high building, they would somehow get burned, they would get bitten by a snake, killed by the venom. Whatever the case is, we know that it's really more of a spiritual, once a person committed certain types of sins, they were bringing upon themselves a certain spiritual, a breakage in their relationship between themselves and God, and thus bringing upon themselves certain consequences. However, as I said, this was very unusual, and it was not common at all for such penalties to be doled out on a Jewish high court. Have a wonderful day.